Peace in our time is something that is oftentimes quoted from Neville Chamberlain, the person behind or the prime minister during the Munich conference when a part of Czechoslovakia was given to Hitler to basically hope for some peace. Now, something I was surprised to find out, apparently the original quote is peace for our time, but it's now it's being said in this way. And it's oftentimes said whenever basically we may make some sort of deal with evil, and it doesn't go this way because apparently principles are something you don't see often at this point, and people don't learn from their mistakes. So people are talking about peace in Gaza now, yet as we've covered both on Sunday, and we are seeing more and more of, we're seeing more and more of Hamas slaughtering their own civilians, basically trying to remove any opposition to their regime, not caring, of course, anything like fair trials or anything, any sort of respecting of individual rights. Of course, that's not what the Palestinian society is based upon. Yet, despite this happening, nobody seems to be talking about it. It really does seem like everything's good and nothing is really happening. The peace is going through. So this is something we'll talk about today. Joining me is Stuart Margolis. Thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to the Daily Objective. And yeah, Stuart. So I think you were on the show either on Thursday or on Friday, if I remember correctly, when the ceasefire happened.
Um, I can't remember which day, but yeah, I was on earlier this week.
So we talked when we knew this ceasefire was going to happen, and I think back then there was a little bit of hesitation if the hostages will be truly released. Thankfully, yesterday they were released, but there is a slight problem with the fact that the bodies of the hostages that were murdered have not all been delivered. So I guess I would just start with Stuart. What do you make of, the fact that truly all living hostages were released? And yeah, this Hamas takeover that's now happening.
Well, of course, you have to start by saying how wonderful it is that these hostages are finally free. And, obviously, I celebrate for them and for their families. I mean, that's incredible. It's been an unimaginable horror with they've all had to go through these last couple of years. Um, that said, I can't. I see a lot of people being very excited about this peace deal. Even they'll say, well, of course we don't know if it'll last, but it's historic. It's wonderful. Um, I don't share that enthusiasm. I don't think it's a good deal. I don't think there's a remote chance in hell that it's actually going to lead to peace. And aside from that, I just don't think I don't see how releasing 2,000 Palestinians in exchange for 20 hostages that just doesn't seem like a particularly good deal, especially when like 300 of those are actual convicted criminals, some of them extremely violent criminals. It seems like you're just ensuring a new wave of violence. So yeah, I feel happy for them, but I can't share the joy in a kind of unadulterated fashion. It's just I'm too aware of the what comes next.
Yeah, just quickly, the 250 to 300 were like actual sort of like full-on terrorists. All of them are criminals. Just I think the two or the rest of the 2,000 were sort of like smaller charges or sort of lesser offensives.
Well, my understanding is that many, if not most of them, had not actually gone through a trial. So that's why I hesitate to call them criminals. I mean, they're accused, but if they haven't
Sure.
gone through trial, they're not criminals. But
Sure, fair enough. I
it's a bit
mean,
of a technicality. They're not
yeah,
good
the
guys.
fact that you're dealing with enemy nations is,
Right.
of course, even when trial happens, they happen in a different way. But okay, sure, I understand. I take that. Um, but yeah, let's look at again another picture that has been going around, and it's this one. I always try to understand for people listening on a podcast. It's a picture from Gaza, from some basically a square or town square or something in Gaza, where you have about 6 people on the ground, basically, and 6 people over them, just ready to shoot them, execution style, with many people around them recording it. Everybody's taking picture as if this is like some fun event that you take your kids to, and among that, something I've seen is people sharing it on X and approving it. Many of the Gaza-based so-called journalists are one, for example, that I found. He said, security services in Gaza, which nice way to say Hamas, a terrorist organization, publicly execute Israel's collaborators who were recruited and used by the Israeli military to steal aid, attack starving aid seekers, destabilize internal front, monopolize goods, damage medical aid, blackmail people, kidnap resistance fighters. And you see like actual justification of straight up executions. Now, Hamas might consider this an enemy, but of course, there is no talking about fair trial. There is no way to even know if these people are guilty of what they're accused of. This is a terrorist state that is pretty much rounding up people and has been for some time, and is killing them. We know that there are many clans that are trying to oppose Hamas. Now, just because you're opposing Hamas doesn't mean you're good. It probably means you were friendly with Hamas at some point, or you were tolerant, and now you just try to stand up to it. But many families are trying to stand up and are being completely shut down by um, Hamas. Yet, not only you don't see, like at least from what I've been seeing, I've seen one article from CNN reporting on it. I've seen in the UK Telegraph, the sort of more of a right wing reporting on it. And even I think the CNN was from like 2 days ago. So, I mean, Stuart, what's going on? We have been for the last 2 years. We had the pro-Palestinian crowd in the streets, on universities, the sailing into Gaza, and now everybody's silent.
The truth is that these people don't care about Palestinian on Palestinian violence. It only matters to them when a Jew is involved. It's only worth talking about when it can be weaponized against Israel. People slaughtering their own, yeah, just another day. No, nobody cares.
Yeah, and we have Deborah in the chat. Well, first she says Stuart's correct. Many are Nakba terrorists who were captured in Israel carrying out their rampage but not yet tried, which I think, yeah, is sort of fair. I not Well, it's for a different discussion. To what extent do you like hold trials for like people who invade you? Uh, but she also said Mr. Fafo wasn't working with Israel. What was Hamas' excuse for killing him? Now, I'm not sure, Stuart, if you know who Mr. Fafo is.
I
He's
don't.
this I guess influencer, you could call him. He became popular after October 7. He of course celebrated October 7. He celebrated the Iranian there's a video of him celebrating Iranian attack that hit Tel Aviv, among other cities. Is somebody who has been pretty much doing Hamas propaganda. There's videos of him like faking his death, basically like straight up creating propaganda and hiding behind the journalist symbol, as many have, and he has actually been killed. He has been killed a few days ago. Now, I've seen different reports. Maybe somebody in the chat can tell me what they've seen about what exactly happened. Apparently, he had ties to Hamas and he was killed by one of the clans because of his ties to Hamas. Now, I've seen a different report coming out today that apparently he was killed by Hamas because he was holding large amount of cash or large amount of wealth from sort of his endeavors because he was so popular. So I've seen different things. But yeah, it's this is what happens. I mean, why would you expect anything else to happen? Especially if somebody. What is it? What is that quote? Something like "revolution eats their children" or something like that. It's yeah. if you were a propagandist for Hamas, your job is done. Basically, if the ceasefire holds, they no longer have any need for you. You've already achieved your goal, and now it's about consolidating the power. Now it's about making sure Hamas is the one in charge. And again, we have nobody speaking out for it. Anything to add on that, Stuart?
Yeah, I mean, I've read through the points of the peace deal, um, and like I said, in my opinion, there's a close to 0% chance that this will actually lead to any sort of lasting peace. Um, I think that in there, Hamas is supposed to like step down or something. But I mean, the idea that Hamas is going to just, relinquish power was always ridiculous. And the fact that already within what 3-4 days of this deal being in place, they're actively killing enemies and consolidating power is a surprise to no one who's been paying any attention.
Uh, I think that's now for some reason sometimes people in the chat their like handles are exchanged for their names. So, but I think this is El Rito. He asks, "What reliable information do we have that who is doing who on that video?" So, I mean, it depends. The specific picture that I've shown, I think there is some confirmation. Again, like Hamas themselves oftentimes claims that they are doing it, like with something. I mean, October 7th would be like a big example, but it's not like Hamas is hiding that they did October 7th. So with a lot of these executions, it's a propaganda tool, right? It's we are getting rid of the traitors. I think Iran is doing the same thing. I mean, it's a great way to kill your opposition. Say, oh, these are Israeli or not Israeli. These are Zionist collaborators, right? And then you pretty much have a free card.
Anything goes. Yeah.
So with a lot of this, they confirm themselves, and I think a lot of other things. There's like different Telegram, especially, is a app that is being used a lot by Hamas and by Palestinians. So a lot of confirmation is coming from that, since especially with Telegram groups, oftentimes anybody can join them, or if you find a way to join them, you can go there. So yeah, basically that, and then get some confirmation from the media. So yeah, this is what's happening, and somebody is asking Hamas or said Hamas already violated the deal, and yeah, this is something interesting that is happening because yeah, Israel is accusing Hamas of violating the deal, uh, which think they technically do. I'm not sure how it was exactly supposed to be with the bodies. I know it was first supposed to be the living hostages, then I believe the so-called Palestinian prisoners that are being released, and then the bodies. But I think from the start, Hamas has said that we have no idea if we can like locate even all the bodies.
Right.
But basically, yeah, that is being accused. I think even the family, the hostage forum, is are also talking that, saying to Vitko, for example, that Hamas is violating the deal. Let's do something about it. And on some level, I like the fact that yeah, we are calling out like Hamas violating the deal, but the solutions that I've seen so far, it's like, oh, we want a fully open Rafah crossing, or we won't open up Rafah crossing. We will limit aid from going in, which I really hope will happen. I really hope we will limit aid. And then watch out for anybody claiming that there is not enough food in Gaza. Because just a few days ago, UNRWA and all other organizations have said there is enough food for 3 months. They've said that, like right when the ceasefire happened, they've said there is enough food for 3 months. So if anybody says that now with the limits there is no, well, you are you've already said so. But even that, it's like nobody
Uh,
cares about actual truth. Nobody cares about what's actually going on. So I mean, yesterday I've said that next week is going to be very decisive of how the future is going to look. And Stuart, what do you think? I mean, there is technically this violation. Do you think something beyond sort of limiting aid, doing these like small things? I mean, Hamas has released four dead hostages yesterday, and I think just a few hours ago they confirmed there's gonna be four more hostages. dead bodies, the dead bodies of hostages. 4 more bodies will be released tonight at I think 10 p.m. Israeli time, local time. So I think in total there's a bit over 20, if I remember correctly. Maybe somebody can 28, I believe. So maybe they just want to do it this staggered like, so Hamas doesn't have to like go further. They do not have to commit to some to the next phase of the deal. But yeah, Stuart, what do you think will happen? We will see sort of like full on break from the ceasefire, or will we just sort of like stagger our way into
I,
doing something?
I, I suspect it's going to be the stagger. I think, there's going to be, well, Hamas didn't do this, so we're not going to do that. And then Hamas is going to be like, well, you didn't do that, so we're not going to do this. And it'll, just slowly fall apart. That's what I predict will happen. What I think should happen, frankly, in my opinion, the only moral reason for Israel to have signed this deal is with the knowledge that Hamas was going to break it, and with the plan that as soon as we had our hostages back and Hamas broke the deal, we do what we should have done October 8th. We go in and we destroy utterly Hamas, the tunnels, all of the terrorist infrastructure, all of it. We should have done it 2 years ago, but can't go back in time. So for me, that would be the only reason for this deal to make sense, is if it's a way to get the hostages back and then completely destroy Hamas. But I don't think that that's what's going to happen. It's what should happen, but it's not what's going to happen.
We have a super chat from Bonnie. Thank you so much. Yeah, I've seen this sentiment a lot. Like, oh, this is the deal, and if Hamas breaks deal, now Israel can go in. Now Israel has the full moral right to go in. But again, that's sort of like ridiculous. Like we had this, and I haven't followed it fully. We had this sort of like something like a conference, some meeting in Egypt with a bunch of different nations, Gaza Peace Forum or something like that. I think it was called, which again Israel didn't even attend because it was on one of the Jewish holidays. But that is another thing where I have like it's such a weird situation to be in. It's almost as if everybody is trying to like lie to themselves that this is peace. Like, oh, it's peace. We called it peace. We can now have peace. And if you just mention peace enough time, everybody will believe it. While you have Hamas, like actually like slaughtering their people, consolidating their power, and not only like this is the thing. It's not even just the fact that. Like Hamas is killing their own people. It's the fact that Palestinians support this killing. They are, going to these things, taking pictures because the view is these are the people who betray the cause, right? These are the Zionist occupiers. These are, if I were to use the different analogy, these are like the bourgeois counter-revolutionaries. It's okay to break a few eggs to bring about the revolution. So yeah, I mean, Stuart, what do you make of like? I'll just take one more thing. Like I've called it, this is like a real emperor has no clothes moment because I truly cannot understand, and I'm not sure if you listened to the Trump's speech in front of the Knesset, but I truly cannot believe that uh, even what Trump says that he like actually believes it, or like people who listen and like clap to what he says actually believe that because you need to
You
be
have to turn off your
so
mind to such an extent. I mean, it just. I didn't listen to the speech, but I've seen, you know, excerpts and such, and I mean, I think it's the triumph of I wish over it is. That people want there to be real peace so badly, which I understand. Um, but this is nothing in this deal is going to bring peace. It's a temporary ceasefire. It's going to allow Hamas time to regroup and rearm. There, nothing fundamental has changed. All the same goals and ideology that allowed October 7th to happen are still in place, and this just ensures that there will be another one. You can count on it. I mean, hopefully not as severe. Hopefully Israeli security forces are going to be more on the ball, so maybe it'll be smaller scale next time, but there will be a next time. I mean, I don't, obviously I wish that there weren't, but there's nothing in reality that has changed that is going to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, I mean, something that I've also been saying quite a lot is Ayn Rand's quote. What is it exactly? Um, there's nothing harder to explain. I'm paraphrasing. There's nothing harder to explain to somebody than something they refuse to see. And I think this is what really is going on here. It's evasion. It's not ignorance. It's not that people do not see what Hamas is doing. It's not that people do not know what Hamas or Palestinians themselves stand for. I mean, especially somebody like Netanyahu. Netanyahu knows what the Palestinian people are. Netanyahu knows even what needs to happen. He can speak very nicely about what needs to happen and
Yeah.
can have a sort of proper policy unless he is in charge. Uh, but he actually talks about how we need to free Palestinians from Hamas. We need to secure peace in Gaza. I mean, Stuart, is this? And I've mentioned this yesterday. I mean, this really does seem like some sort of like self-preservation evasion almost. Because if you fully recognize what you're doing, right? If you fully recognize you are making deal with terrorists, people are getting killed because you are allowing a terrorist organization to run free. You are doing all of this, and you are making like peace with that organization. If you truly are like fully aware, you would actually go crazy. Like you couldn't hold that kind of evil and not go psychotic.
Well, people can compartmentalize in ways that astonish me. Um, uh, yeah, I mean, it is evasion. Of course, it's evasion, but I think you can't underestimate how well people are able to evade. They are masters at it.
So, yeah, I guess sort of like starting to wrap up, as always, we'll continue following this. But again, maybe a question for you, Stuart. What do you think? Do you have, well, one, I guess I would ask, do you think, or did you predict that the hostages would, or live hostages would actually get released? And any predictions you'd like to do for the next week or so? Because on some level, I feel like the news, and maybe it's just I have like a weird week, so I'm taking things differently. But in some ways, it seems like the news have been a bit just sort of like calm, weirdly,
Yeah,
maybe calm
uh,
before the storm.
yeah, maybe. I I am somewhat surprised that they did just release all of the hostages as they said they would. Um, yeah, that surprised me. I sort of expected them to play games with it, release a few and then demand that theirs be released. And I thought there'd be some back and forth and some game playing. So that did take me a bit by surprise. Um, as you said, I think what we're going to see is this, you know, Hamas violating the deal in little ways, like not returning the hostage corpses, um, and I'm sure there'll be other little things, but not so blatantly that Israel can feel justified in swooping in and really wholesale violating the peace, the ceasefire. I think it's going to be they'll respond by closing this crossing or that crossing, or doing this or that. It's going to be this tit for tat until eventually the whole thing just erodes entirely. But that's my prediction. But I think this sort of thing is hard to predict in detail. I just know in principle, when you're dealing with these kinds of people, to expect that they're suddenly going to be peace loving and live up to their end of the deal, that that's just pure delusion to me. How exactly it's going to play out, hard to predict.
Yeah, I mean, something well, first, Bonnie brings up sort of Hamas giving their weapons, and Hamas has, or sort of the officials of Hamas have officially stated that, yeah, that we are not giving up on our weapons, or rather, it was very conditional in a way of we will give our weapons to the Palestinian army, meaning when Palestinian state gets created, that's when Hamas will disarm. So yeah, they do not have any plans to basically disarm. Which again, I do not know how you want to move from there. I mean, there is there is some wiggle room if you are negotiating with somebody in peaceful times. But if it requires like disarming somebody and they say no, I do not know what you can like negotiate over at that point when like you are pretty much at that stage. And then there is something separate that I've seen about, maybe it also needs a full episode, but sort of like a nefarious thing like behind the scenes. I mean, just a few days ago, something we haven't covered, or might have been maybe even a week ago, but Qatar is getting some facility in the US, or it will be managing. It's not that Qatar will have like a full-on like independent base in the US, but basically there is some coordination in there. And since the timing is very sort of similar, somebody was asking, or there are thoughts about why is Qatar getting it now. And my question would be, of course, why is Qatar getting anything? They are the ones who support terrorism abroad. They are the ones who, more importantly, support the ideological hatred of the West continuously. So, I mean, Stuart, as somebody living in America, how do you feel about, more Qatar in the US?
Oh, it's horrifying. It's can you even imagine if Biden or Obama had tried to do this, the outrage from the Republicans. But we are so tribal that since Trump's doing it, oh well, must be good then. No, it's not good. It's terrible.
We have a super chat from Ginger. Thank you so much. Uh, yeah, I mean, when it comes to tribalism, I would maybe recommend the last episode we did on Sunday Spark with Anders Ingemarson, who talks about tribalism, the left or right sort of dichotomy that is right now in the US. And yeah, it really does make it impossible almost to, or it's not impossible to judge people's action, but it's really hard to get some consistency from pretty much anybody who somebody says, I don't know any Republican who thinks it's okay. So why it's happening? Like nobody agrees with it, but it's like
But it's
happening. Uh,
right.
so again, it's and yeah, the idea that Republicans are somehow like against Qatar. Look at your special envoy to the Middle East. That's the biggest friend of Qatar. Even yeah, I mean, or even the way Trump is speaking about Qatar. So again, trying to say that really hate it when people try to say like, oh, nobody is for it. Well, if nobody was for it, it wouldn't be happening. So somebody must be for it, and somebody, or not that somebody must be for it, a significant amount of influence must be behind it for it to happen. Qatar didn't like somehow steal something or somehow found the loophole in the American Constitution to like establish not a base but technically like like some kind of what is it called exactly? It's uh, a jet
I'm not
facility.
okay.
Uh,
Some sort of yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's somebody must have agreed with them to do so. Any thoughts on that, Stuart?
Well, the somebody is Trump, and then therefore MAGA, and they support whatever Trump says. So even I'm sure that it's true that a lot of them privately are, like, well, what the hell? But the fact that they don't ever speak out, they don't ever oppose anything that Trump proposes. So in what sense are they against it if they're just privately grumbling about it?
Yeah, it's similar to when I hear when Netanyahu says like the world leaders are behind him, but they need to like appease their population. I mean, again, when Israel gets wiped out, you could say, well, quietly I was like for Israel, I just couldn't like support it. Well, no, you in all things that matter, you were absolutely anti-Israel, and not trying to put thoughts aside, but actions do really matter as well as sort of your reasons behind them. So. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the ways we are continuing to deal with Qatar, and people should look up our older videos with Qatar, especially with Steve Witkoff, who, I'm not saying he's in the pocket of Qatari families. I'm just saying that he had a hotel that he couldn't sell, and then suddenly a Qatari organization bought it from him above the price. I'm just saying. Well, no, I'm not. Yeah, I am inserting that he might be very influenced by Qatar.
Yeah, well, and I'm sure the plane that Qatar gave Trump, that wasn't at all influential in Trump deciding that this was okay. No, purely coincidence.
Well, with that, any last thoughts from you, Stuart? And where can people find you?
Um, yeah, I mean, I do want to emphasize that it's not that I'm hoping that this deal falls apart. You know, I want peace for the region. I want there to be no more killing. I just am realistic in assessing the actual likelihood that this deal will lead to that. And like I said, I think it's close to 0%. Um, I have a Substack, stuartmargolis.substack.com, and I'm also on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to, because my reaction almost immediate was like, I do want this peace deal to sort of fall through. But it's that sort of like when people say like they want world peace, like it's sort of like truism, like okay, but like what do you mean by that? And this peace deal is absolutely the same because it involves things like, uh, you know, Arab states will come in and de-radicalize the Palestinian population. I mean, yeah, if it could really happen, I would be for it. If world peace could really happen in the way people talk about it, like I do want it to happen, but like both of those are completely disjointed from reality. So I have no reason to like go for it. It's not even idealistic. It's completely
Just a
devoid of
fantasy.
any basis. So
Yeah,
that's why I do, in a sense, hope this peace deal falls through because I don't think it will achieve what it claims to achieve, which is actual peace in the Middle East. I think uh, it will either fall apart because of something, or people will simply compromise on what it really means and will allow Hamas to stay in power. Or even if Hamas gets removed, I do not believe that any. I mean, UNRWA has been supposed to educate the Palestinian people, and we've covered a few episodes about what they are educating their children. It's not peace. It's not no. It's killing Jews. That is what children are being taught in Palestine. This is from the international organizations. So well, with that, thank you, Stuart, for joining me today. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode of the Daily Objective. Until then, bye bye.